Chain Rule, Part 1.
Hi, I'm Daniel Souza and welcome to Aptitude Academy. This is part 1 on the lectures on chain rule. Let's get started. The conventional way to understand chain rule problems is by direct and indirect proportions. So let us assume we have two quantities A and B. Now, if both of those are in direct proportion, what happens is if A increases, B will also increase. If A decreases, B will also decrease. For example, say you go to a market and A denotes the amount of money that you have and B denotes the number of apples you can buy. So if you have more money, you can buy more number of apples. If you have less money, you'll be able to buy less number of apples, right? Now in indirect proportions, what happens is if A increases, B will decrease. And if A decreases, B will increase. An example for this is suppose you have a piece of cake and A are the number of people who are going to eat the cake and B is the size of the piece each person gets, right? So if there are less number of people, the size of the piece is going to be greater, right? For each person, everybody is going to get a bigger piece. But as the number of people goes on increasing, the size that each person gets is smaller. So that is basically indirect proportions. Direct and indirect proportions are easy to understand when you have simple examples. But when you solve chain rule problems, I find it a little annoying and confusing. So I've developed a new method. It's called the cause-effect rule. Alright, now the cause-effect rule is basically an easy way to solve chain rule problems. Now what you do basically in this rule is you read the problem. Don't write anything the first time you see it, right? First you read the problem, understand it, and then divide it into two categories, a cause and an effect. Now the best way to understand cause effect is by taking an example. Suppose there are 8 men here, right? They have to build a wall. Now they're going to work for some amount of time and then they're going to build it, right? So what is the cause and what is the effect? The effect is going to be the wall. And what is the cause of the wall being built? The men working. Now in the exam, the basic principle is going to remain the same, but they're going to change it. What they're going to say is 8 men have worked for 4 hours and then they've built a wall. Or they'll say 8 men have worked for 8 days and worked for 2 hours every day and then they built a wall. So basically what it is that men work for some time and then they build your wall. So the effect is going to be the wall and all of this is going to be the cause. Now when you use the cause effect rule to solve your chain rule sums, there are going to be two categories of problems that can appear in examinations. Let's look at them. Category 1. Now for category 1, what's going to happen is your effect is going to be different and you need to find out what is this effect. Right now, let's discuss the two parts in any sum. You've got the base scenario and you've got a question, right? Now the base scenario says that you've got A men that work for B hours and they construct a wall of C meters height, right? Now this is always going to be the same in every sum. What follows is the question, and this question is going to be of category 1, right? Where the effect is different. So what they're going to do is they're going to change your cause, right? This is your cause and this is your effect, right? So they're going to change your cause. Now you won't have A men that work for B hours. You're going to have D men that work for E hours, right? So the wall's height is going to be different, right? And that's what you need to find out in a category 1 sum, right? So D men are going to work for E hours and you need to find out what is the height of the wall that's going to be built. So the effect is different. First you had a height of C meters, right? Now you're going to have a height of X meters that you need to find out. Category 2. Now as you may have guessed, in category 2 sums, the effect is going to be the same, right? Now suppose we have A men that work for B hours and create a wall, right? That is of C meters height. Now in your category 2 sums, the question is going to be a little different. They're going to say that now I don't have A men, I have D men, but I want them to build the same wall as the first group, right? So these D people have to build the same wall of C meters height. So what are the number of hours that they need to work? And these are category 2 sums, right? Your effect is going to be the same. In the first scenario, you have the wall of C meters height. In the second scenario, also you have a wall of C meters height. But they will change the cause. They'll change half the cause and they'll ask you to find the corresponding change in the other half. Quiz time. What I'm going to do is flash two questions on your screen. I want you to tell me whether each of them is a category 1 sum or a category 2 sum. Don't forget, category 1, the effect is different, and in category 2, the effect is same.
Problem 1. If 20 men can build a wall 56 meters long in 6 days, what length of a similar wall can be built by 35 men in 3 days? Problem 2. If 15 men working 9 hours a day can reap a field in 16 days, in how many days will 18 men reap the field working 8 hours a day?
Comment your answers down below and you can verify them in the next lecture where I solve both these problems. Alright, so this is part 1 on the lecture on chain rule, where we basically saw what is the cause effect rule and the two categories of problems that can come in your examination. In part 2, I'll be solving both these questions that we just discussed and I'll be showing you how exactly to use the cause effect rule to your advantage. So make sure you check that out as well. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any doubts on any of the categories of the problems, make sure you leave me a comment down below and I'll clear your doubt as soon as possible. Cheers!
Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to get access to all my videos. I release new lectures every Thursday. Cheers!